What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Ticker Fee video and welcome to the Ticker Fee family. So the ticker symbol that we're going to be talking about today is going to be Asia Broadband, or AABB. Now, what we're going to be talking about specifically today is going to be how the board approved an increased stock dividend, which is amazing, as well as the 16.8 million annual gross profit success. And then we'll follow up with a chart analysis. So for those that have been supporting me so far, guys, as always, I really do appreciate it. And for those that's tuning in for the first time, welcome. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so if you're learning for the first time about Asia Broadband, or if you're just seeing this ticker symbol AABB for the first time, what I wanted to point out is if you actually check out my channel, here at the bottom right, you'll see that I actually updated the most updated information about a week ago. And also I broke down the company for what they do, the services that they provide, and so on. And so I just wanted to point that out. But with that being said, let's actually look at the increased stock dividend. Alright, so this is the latest news. So Asia Broadband, they are pleased to announce that the company's management and board of directors have approved an increase in the upcoming stock dividend. So I wanted to highlight a few things because I thought they were pertinent. Now look, the restriction common share dividend will be distributed on the basis of one dividend share for every 45 shares owned to shareholders of record of the company on May 3rd, 2021. Now keep that in mind with the record I'll actually talk about here a little bit later in the video, but in response to the shareholders' request and interest in receiving the stock dividend, the company increased the dividend by 10% and extended the shareholder of record date. Now, the majority of the shareholders will receive a dividend shareholder through their brokers or investment firms. Alternatively, shareholders that own registered share certificates with the company's transfer agent will receive the dividend share directly by mail. So they say AABB would like to reward its loyal shareholder base for their patient, continued support, and interest in the sharing of the success of the growth of the company. So full on highlight for that. Now, with that being said, I feel like that's great news for the shareholder. I personally appreciate that. Now, having skin in the game, that only helps. So keep that in mind. Now, what I wanted to also pull, like I said, talk about is going to be the record of date. So let's actually check that out. Okay, so first what I wanted to point out is this website. So if you look at streetinsider.com, you actually see the dividend history. So you can plug in any of the ticker symbols that you want right here. So for example, I did KO for Coca-Cola, and it's going to show you the ex-dividend date, right? And then it's going to show the declaration date, the receiving date, the pay date, and so on. And it'll show the details, and it'll even show the history. But for those that don't understand or know what those are, I just wanted to say exactly what each one means. So the declaration date is the day on which the board of directors announced the dividend. Okay. Now the X date, or X dividend date, is the trading date on and after which the dividend is not owned to a new buyer of the stock. The X date is one business day before the date of record. Okay, so that should make some sense. Now, the date of record is the day on which the company checks its records to identify the shareholders of that company. So keep that in mind, especially when it comes to the record of date. Now, with that being said, let's look at the $16.8 million gross profit success. Okay, so Asia Broadband confirms the 16.8 million annual gross profit, affirming the mining operations development success. Now, this was noted March 24th, 2021, so keep that in mind. Now, I wanted to highlight some of the areas that I thought in some of these paragraphs that were important. So, with that being said, $16.8 million, huge. Now, the company received its final 2020 year-end price adjusted gold and silver sales revenues and will be publishing the annual reports in the coming week. Now, AABB strategic growth focuses on the capitalize on the vertically integrated mineral resource production in Mexico, right? So for those that didn't know that, now the current mining projects are situated in the regions where they have comparative advantage of developmental resources and expertise readily available for that expansion. Now, here's the other thing that I wanted to point out. In other news, AABB is nearing completion of a new and enhanced corporate website highlighting the company's current properties and operations, as well as the process of appointing additional management to the company to expand operational expertise and as well as expedite project development. So personally, I think that's really good information. I just wanted to point that out to you. That way you are always aware of what the latest is. So with that being said, guys, let's actually check out the chart analysis. Okay, so this is one of my favorite parts of the video. It's always explaining and teaching the candlesticks chart. So keep in mind, it's a simple method of displaying price information in the market. Now, it is not like the line chart, right? So each series on a candlesticks chart contains these 4 data points, which I cannot stress. So that's going to be the opening price, the high price, the low price, and the closing price, right? Now, the other thing is, the anatomy of the candlestick. So you're looking at the body, the wicks, and the color. Now the body indicates the open to close range, and the wicks are also the tails or the shadows, which are the long thin lines above and below the main body. Now these reveal the intraday highs and lows. Now the color, which I feel like the majority of us understand and know, and that's going to be the direction of the price movement. So that's going to be green, which is price increase, and red, which is price decrease. Now what I want to point out, and which I always do, is going to be the volume, and that's what you want to notice, right? So that's going to be the buys and the sells. It's not one or the other. So when you're looking at the trend line, right, you've got the resistance and then you've got the support. So every time we hear a catalyst or something that moves that the trend line itself, right, it's going to create an increase or a decrease, right? So with that being said, you're looking at 0.2213 as the new formed support line. Now we've got highs of 0.659, on the wick part. But with that being said, keep in mind, when you see green, that indicates that whatever it opened up at, it closed higher, right? And so that's vice versa for the red. Now, when I'm looking at this line, you can see the trend line start to rise and then kind of settle out. But keep in mind that it is a penny stock, and there's been a huge correction in March, right? And so now with the infrastructure, with the new policies, with what's going on, there might be an increase which will help us, and that's what I wanted to show. But with that being said, there are also huge catalysts with what I just spoke about earlier, which if we continue to get that, I feel like the upward trend is going to be in the positive, which is going to help us as shareholders. So guys, I really do appreciate you taking the time to listen to this video. It really means a lot. And for those that are tuning in, I always do appreciate it. And guys, welcome to the Ticker Feed family.